Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the video on EC8453 linear integrated circuits. This is a subject what you will be studying on your engineering degree of 4th semester electronics and communication department as well as by EEE department. This is the introduction video. In forthcoming videos we will get into the subject. And I am Divya, working as assistant professor in the department of ECE, RMK College of Engineering and Technology, Chennai. Let's get into the video now. Before getting into the subject called linear integrated circuit, let me tell you what is meant by integrated circuit. It is a connection of multiple electronic components onto a single chip. The chip is made of semiconductor material, then the chip is called as integrated circuit. Simple. When I am going to connect multiple electronic components onto a single semiconductor chip, then it is called as integrated circuit. When we mean by the term multiple, it means I am going to have a different variety of electronic components ranging from transistors, resistors, capacitors, so on so. And integrated circuits also contains both active components as well as passive components. That is low limit, like I should be using only active components or I can be having only passive components. Your IC can have both active as well as passive components. Dealing about the advantages of integrated circuits, we have many advantages. Out of all those things, the first and foremost advantage of using integrated circuit is its compact size. When we are dealing with discrete components, the size occupied by each of them when we connect using breadboards or using PCB will be more when we compare that with the size of your IC. Your IC is far lesser in size when compared with your discrete components connected to a breadboard or to a PCB. Second advantage of your IC is lesser weight. When we compare with the discrete components, the size or weight of your IC is getting reduced because we are having a smaller version of your components integrated in the form of your IC. Third advantage of your integrated circuit is its low power consumption. Since the size of your IC is small, the power consumption of that IC is also going to be less. Next advantage of your IC is reduced cost. This is because of your mass production of ICs. The single production yields a many number of ICs altogether. So the cost of a single IC is becoming less. And increased reliability. This is the thing what we need on our scientific purpose. We have your IC that has to work without any deviation. That can be improved by providing your IC formation. Why? Because when we connect many components, each and every component may perform differently on different environment. When we convert them everything into a form of IC, they are compactly spaced together, so that reliability of that IC has been increased. The most important advantage of your IC is improved operating speed. The speed of operation of your ICs has been greatly increased when compared with your discrete component connected together. This is the main advantage of your IC. Because of this, we are using this on your computers, calculators, so on so details. Now let us see where can I use these ICs. These ICs can be used in every field, starting from your mobile phone. Your mobile phone definitely has an IC, we might have seen this. Second case, the foremost case what we are using is your system. Your laptop or your motherboard will be containing the ICs. You have seen this. This is your RFID board. Here you can see the RFID chips present on your RFID reader. This will be using now. And this is the television case. In this television board also we are having many ICs. So what it means, we are having ICs on our day-to-day life, starting from your watch, your calculator, your television, your laptop, your mobile phone. Everything what we see in our daily life, what we use in our day-to-day life has an IC integrated in it. Now let us classify the ICs. How the ICs can be classified. Integrated circuits are classified into basically two types. They are analog integrated circuit. Other name for that analog integrated circuit is linear integrated circuit. What is this linear integrated circuit means? This linear integrated circuit can operate over range of continuous values of signal amplitude. It can work on different range of continuous values of signal amplitude, which means what, I can apply a sine wave or triangular wave or sawtooth wave as an input to this linear IC, because continuous changing values of input can be accepted by this analog IC. Other name for analog IC is what? Linear IC. Second category of IC is digital IC, otherwise called as non-linear IC. So the name implies says that it can work only on predefined levels of values of input signal, whereas linear IC or analog IC can work on continuous values of input. Non-linear IC or digital IC can work on predefined levels of input. Now let me give you the difference between analog IC and digital IC. The first point difference between analog and digital IC is analog ICs are also called as linear ICs. Digital ICs are also called as non-linear IC, that we have seen already. Second point also we have seen in the previous one itself. What is that? It can work on continuous range of values. Our digital IC can work on predefined range of values. Third one, you can see the analog ICs can be used in your aircraft or space vehicles, radars, your phase locked loop, oscilloscope, etc., where we are having RF radio frequency signals or high frequency signals as your input. Whereas digital ICs are used in your clocks, watches, calculators, your processor, your computers, everything. And the design requirements that is required for analog IC is more drastic, whereas digital IC it is less drastic. Why? Because your analog IC has to work on continuous values of input, whereas digital IC has to work only on predefined values of input. Let me add some more data to the difference between analog and digital IC. Your analog IC is available as operational amplifier, your multiplier, comparator, regulator and microwave amplifier. We are having analog IC in these forms. Digital IC is also available in the form of ADC, analog to digital cards, digital to analog cards, your logic gates, flip-flops, counters, register, memory card. You will be using the SD card. All those things it is available in the form of digital IC. And when we have analog IC, we have less number of transistors present inside that, whereas in digital IC we have more number of transistors. Now this is the difference between analog and digital IC. Thank you. We'll meet in the next session where we discuss about the classifications of ICs.